Hey, what is up everyone? In this video, I want to talk about seasons in Sea of Thieves and how Rare doesn't really seem to get what makes seasons fun. So recently I've seen many people blame the season system for the reason why updates have been so lackluster as opposed to updates before seasons were introduced. I don't really think seasons are to blame for this, but rather Rare not understanding what makes a season good and having poor planning on how to accomplish these seasons. So first let's go over what the typical season structure looks like. Most games have their seasons span over the course of 3 months. Typically these include a season pass and some sort of big content update at the start, followed by smaller content updates throughout. Sea of Thieves typically follows this structure other than the many delays we've seen in the past. But that alone doesn't make for a great season. The first problem Sea of Thieves has is that a new season should change the player experience to help keep the game feeling fresh, but also retain the things players like about the game. Using Fortnite as an example, they do this typically by adding new locations, weapons, and other items to the game. Sometimes this backfires with players not liking the new changes, but typically players do enjoy these updates. Looking at the current season of Fortnite, which brought with it a new map, new weapons, and new features like an actual train or weapon modifications. Compare that to Sea of Thieves Season 10 and what we got at the start of that with guilds, which while it is a cool new system, doesn't change the player experience. If you were to load into the game on the launch of Season 10 compared to the day before during Season 9, you're essentially playing the same game, just now there's extra menus. Looking at past season updates, most don't make this standard, mainly because Rare is not creating content, they're making systems. Let's be clear, I love new systems, and it's actually kind of what I do for work, so I'm not against getting new systems in the game like captaincy or guilds, but systems are not content. New or improved systems can improve the user experience, however they do not give you anything new to do. It's kind of like binge watching a TV show, and instead of Netflix releasing a new season, they reshuffle the episodes to make them flow a bit easier. While this could be a nice change, it's definitely not going to make you happy if you found out that those changes took the place of getting new episodes. That's essentially what's happening with Sea of Thieves. Over the last year and a half, we've had 4 seasons added to Sea of Thieves. 3 of those have been system updates and not content. And based off what we know about Season 11, we may be in for another system update and not a content update. Like I said before, I think new and improved systems are great. I love what we got with Captaincy, but those updates should not be the main seasonal update, and instead we'd be better off for a mid-season update or even a once-a-year anniversary update. I think systems would be great for something like what we saw in the first year of Sea of Thieves when we had that anniversary update. If you wanted to do a big overhaul of several of the systems in the game, you could save them up throughout the year and release them in one big anniversary update that basically could be like the next version of Sea of Thieves each year. But then you have that separate from the season content, which the season content can be, actual content. We could get more stuff like the ancient vaults in the game, or different world events, or different voyages, or maybe even new stuff that we don't even have or can think of in the game because we just haven't had the opportunity because we've been so busy with systems. I think this would also help significantly with the delays that we've seen that are required for these system updates to be added. With that said, moving past the season launch update, we need to talk about updates throughout the season. Now, if we got a really great season launch with tons of content added at the beginning, then I think the need for substantial monthly updates would be lessened. But I don't really see that happening for a long time, so instead let's talk about how Rare can improve supporting a season and keeping players interested throughout. I actually think this is one area where Rare was doing a decent job prior to this year. It definitely wasn't on the level of say Fortnite, but I think the adventures, quality of life fixes, and last year's DeMarco mystery really helped keep players entertained during the seasons. Adventures especially helped last year when we had that major delay while waiting for, yet again, another system update with Season 7, which brought us Captaincy. And if you compare that to what we had this year where we had a major delay for Season 10, where we were waiting for another system with guilds, then you can really see the parallel of how the game suffered this year compared to last year just from not having adventures. Because I think adventures really helped bridge the gap of adding content. While it might have been, shorter content, maybe not the best content, it was at least something to give players. So you're throwing a bone to them, whereas this year there was no bone, the bone's gone. I really do think Adventures was the right step forward for Sea of Thieves until they gave up on it. I would love to see Rare bring this back in the future and maybe have each month have 2 weeks for an adventure and then the other 2 weeks be an event. And they could have a set of events that cycle through, and this would hopefully help reduce the amount of work would be required to maintain the game. Honestly, this part of the video just makes me kind of sad because they were so close to doing this part really well. They were always struggling with the initial launch of the seasons, having content for it and some other stuff that we're going to talk about next in this video. But really with supporting the season and that mid-season content, they were actually doing really well with it. So I do see hope for them to maybe return to this and improve on some of the other things that we've talked about in this video. Now moving on to the biggest problem with seasons in Sea of Thieves that no one seems to be talking about, and that is theming. If you look at any season in Sea of Thieves, none of them have any real clear theme. There's no overall vision for what the experience of that season is. Let's look again at Fortnite, where you have clear and distinct seasons, like a spy season, or a superhero season, or a bounty hunter season. We even got a freaking Marvel season. And this isn't just talking about cosmetics in the season pass, this is for everything. Each season in Fortnite has a theme, and that affects the season pass, and the new locations, and the new items, and basically everything that season has to offer fits that theme. Because of this, each season feels distinct and fresh, but with Sea of Thieves, I usually have no idea what the theme is, since it really doesn't matter. Giving a season a theme that permeates all aspects of the season's content not only makes it more memorable and cohesive, but it can also allow for story progression. I praised the adventures we had in the game earlier, but the Sea of Thieves story should not just be locked away to adventures and comics and some other outside media. It should help drive content. An example of this would be with the return of Flameheart, which happened over a year ago without anything happening since then. If I were to say tasked with setting up a season, we would have an adventure the month before the season releases to build up excitement for Flameheart to launch his attack, and then that adventure would lead into the next season, with that bringing a new season pass that's themed around the return of Flameheart, and the content update being something like a new world event or a voyage revolving around Flameheart or his plan or something. The pieces of a great cohesive season are there. It's really just up to Rare if they want to do that. 2023 has been a really rough year for the game, and I'm still hopeful that they can turn things around in the coming year, but that covers my thoughts on seasons in Sea of Thieves. I'd love to hear what y'all think about this, and if you were in charge with creating a new season for Sea of Thieves, what would it be? If you're interested in hearing some of my ideas on potential season content, you can check out this recent video here, but if you enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you like and subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.